All right, tonight on the randomizer draft, I complete a randomizer trilogy with the fantasy footballers on. Back in the inaugural season, we had the Hitman on. Season 2, we had Andy on. And now, of course, Jason Moore to round things out. We're going to have 18 rounds, best ball draft here, except we don't get to just pick the best player. No, all of the picks are dictated by prompts on the wheel that we're going to throw out. Jason, let's see if he's ready for the randomizer.
Wow, underdog fantasy with the randomizer draft.
You piece of shit.
Wilson! Wilson!
It's glowing hard.
I like big bulls, so I cannot lie.
Bring one of your dogs.
Yards to the fucking house against Carolina in League 10.
All right, Jason Moore, welcome to the randomizer. How we doing, man?
I'm doing all right. I am tired. I am hot, and I am ready to be made a fool of. Let's go.
You know what? I would say that is the exact same way I come into these randomizer shows. I literally just switched out of a t-shirt to a tank top because I'm also sweating like you. I'm tired. I got a 6-month-old, but I am ready to go as well. So I think we're on a very similar wavelength tonight.
Yeah.
Awesome. Obviously, people know you from the fantasy footballers, but you're a pretty big underdog best ball grinder yourself. Am I correct in that?
I do enjoy. Oh shoot! Yeah, as you say that, I'm like, wow, I should be on the clock in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 leagues right now. But all right, we got a 3-hour minimum, so I'm good.
What are you like? How sick are you? Were you playing all the like big board? Were you doing the super flex? Are you in on the weekly winners? Like, I want to know how deep down this underdog rabbit hole you are.
Yeah, so I am not your usual underdog degenerate. I'm not maxing out tournaments. I actually don't like the tournament play as much. You know, I'm being more of a redraft like keeper league type passion. I just love the 12-person leagues. You know, I'm in pretty much every $10 12-person league just on auto and do them over and over and over. And those are the primary ones. Last year I got in, a couple of the really big high value leagues. But I the Best Ball Mania, I am not grinding well enough to know the week 17 matchups, the correlation. Like I'm going to let you guys, you way smarter degenerates, do that than myself. I'm going to play with what I know.
Well, Monty is here in the chat saying he's in a sit and go with you and that you are in fact on the clock. So I think that checks out there.
I'm in 5. I'm on the clock right now in 5 leagues. So I apologize for slowing down underdog right now.
Now so you're the opposite of me in that other than this randomizer draft, which is a self-contained 12-person league, I exclusively play tournaments. Do you do like, what are you guys doing over in those 12 teams? Do you have a certain structure you like? Are you always 3 quarterbacks, 3 tight ends? I'm curious what's going on in like the cash game streets.
Yeah, I'm not always anything. Obviously, it depends on how the draft is going to fall. If I'm going to take one of the big boy, if I get Mark Andrews, if I end up drafting Josh Allen or Mahomes or Hurts or whatever, I'm certainly not rocking 3 of those positions. I am usually a 3 tight end build, and I'm 2 or 3 quarterback builds, have more wide receivers than running backs, but obviously that's going to be dictated on what did I take early. So for the most part, that's kind of the simple generic formula that I stick to in most of those leagues.
Yeah. And do you do any fast ones or you like doing the slow drafts?
No, I don't have time for the fast ones, man. I got a busy life. So this is toilet time for me. This is, get on the toilet. How many leagues am I on the clock? Let's make some picks.
I know. I wish I could say that it just like making picks and seeing that notification on my phone is just some casual thing, but I get way too excited when I see I'm on the clock to have a pick and then you go into the draft room and you reorient yourself with that specific team. I do really feel like I'm a broken person with how much joy that gives me.
So do you do a lot of fast drafts? I'm fascinated. I follow people on Twitter where it's like, this tournament opens up and it's like one day later they're like, yeah, I maxed out my 150 entries. I'm like, how in the world, what are you doing? Is this all, are you doing like multiple fast drafts at the same moment?
Yeah, I'm honestly in awe of that too, especially now that I have a child. Basically, this is where I'm at. I either do fast drafts on streams, and I am streaming all 150 of my Best Ball Mania drafts, or I'm doing slow drafts. It's basically, I don't have time for any additional fast drafts that aren't content, which it sounds like that's the boat you're in as well.
Yeah.
So it is fun. I do want to get in those streets. I know, back in the day, like Peter Jennings used to love those 3-mans on Underdog too, like the really small field cash game stuff. So maybe we need to bring that back, Jason. You need to lead the charge here and get that back in the business.
Those are fun, man. You get someone that doesn't think about Kelsey early enough, and you grab a couple of grab Kelsey and Andrews and log out.
There you go. All right. We have filled this draft, Jason. We're about to find out where we are picking 1-9. I'd prefer to be 1-6, 1-7, 1-5. We can make 1-9 work here. Let me get the wheel up as well. And I will say, I told you the basic premise of the show, but it does feel like you're coming in pretty blind, which can either be a very fun thing or it can be a very bad thing.
It'll be a very bad thing. I assure you, I will make sure that this goes poorly for us both. And I'm coming in super blind, so I'm excited to just let the world take me where it leads me.
Yes. Well, you'll get the hang of things quickly. I say we don't waste any time. I say we spin here. Shout out to everyone in the Discord who are YouTube members submitting those prompts in the forum, and those of you on Twitter as well. Ooh, we're getting the fun stuff right out of the gate. So this involves a little bit of multimedia. I mentioned that your co-hosts on the Footballers have been on the show before. This is a throwback. When Andy was on the Randomizer, this was 2 years ago, he was asked who the main host of the Fantasy Footballers is, of you three. How do you think he responded? And I will play the clip here. If you're close to how he responded, you get to draft whoever. If you're way off, you're going to have to take Keontae Ingram. How do you think he responded to that question?
I'm not taking Keontae Ingram here. Andy's going to say Andy is the main host. Play the clip.
Self co-host, or do you feel like you are the main driver host?
I'm the dad for sure. I keep the kids in line. So there's a level of co-host and just papa host on the table there.
So
oh no.
No, I think you got it. He was
You're
saying
gonna give that one to me
there. Oh yeah,
okay.
for sure. You
all
said
right.
he was
okay, great.
He was the main host, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Whew.
Is that a fair characterization? How would you describe the relationship of you three from like a host co-host hierarchy?
Yeah, I mean, Andy is the host of the show. He's the one that leads the conversation. Mike and I are if you had to label them, we're the analysts. Now, all three of us are analysts, and all three of us are co-hosts. But as far as like organizationally speaking, Andy is the one going through the show doc, leading the conversation to Mike and to I and to myself, and then we go from there.
And you guys, how many episodes are you now? Because you guys have had some recent, very big milestones.
I think we're in the 1200s, 1300s, something like that. We've done a lot. Yeah, this last sometime last year or a year ago or so, we hit episode 1000, and that was a pretty special show. Our producer surprised us with so much absurd things on that episode. It was pretty fun.
That is an incredible accomplishment. 1,000 shows. You are on the clock here in a second at 1-9. We're on deck right now. Because you got that prompt correct, you get to take whoever you want here at the top of the board. You see AJ Brown, Austin Eckler, Bijan, awesome. CeeDee Lamb. Anything jump out to you?
Easy. Yeah, easy peasy. This is Austin Eckler to me. I know right now it's hot to draft wide receivers, push them up the board, start. But, when you're talking about 3 running backs by ADP, the overcorrection from last year's disappointment is absurd. So, I'm getting last year's running back one. Oh, no. I thought you said I get anybody. You liar, Pete.
I said you were about to be on the clock. Austin Eckler,
oh my
we got
goodness.
sniped by Mrs. Jackson.
Well, now I'm really upset. So what I was saying is wide receivers are hot right now, so I'm obviously going to go AJ Brown. That's the way to build. I think Bijan is overdrafted right now, to be honest. I mean, I understand it.
Yeah.
I love Bijan. He's the new hotness, but I'm gonna go with the normal ADP build here, I guess.
All right. Well, speaking of your co-hosts, we got to phone a friend here. They want you to call Andy or Mike and have them tell you the first player that comes to mind from the UDK bust list and take that player. If drafted, tell them to keep giving you names. So you can't leave the witness. You just need to say, give me a player that first comes to mind on the UDK bust list.
Okay.
All right. How many players are on this bust list?
I think we have probably about 12. Hey, what's going on, Andy? We're live here on the randomizer with Pete Overzet.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Who is the first player that comes to mind on our UDK bust list? He shouldn't be.
No,
I would not allow that.
He's checking.
first one he got me kept making dinner.
I know. Yeah. Well, look, this is real. This is tough stuff over here. We're not messing around on the
Are you in the
randomizer.
middle?
Yeah, we're live. I need.
Oh, I got you.
I need a bust list player right now. Okay. All right. I'm taking Dak. Thank you.
I couldn't fully hear that. I did hear Dak. Did he say he was making dinner? Is that what was going on?
He was making dinner. Yes, I apologize. I tried to get it loud enough, but Andy's so meek and quiet. So yeah, Dak Prescott is on our UDK bust list. Obviously, the change at moving away from Kellen Moore, and I think there's some fears there. He's been rushing less, so he's someone that we don't see as having the high end potential that he has had over the last several years.
Yeah, I certainly get that. Who was the player that you said he better not be on the bus list? Did he maybe say Najee at first?
He did. He said Najee.
Uh-oh.
And I should have allowed him to say that and then just agreed so that I could have drafted Najee, but I'm a man of honor and principle, and I do not believe Najee Harris is a bust this year. So I'm gonna stand up. I'm gonna stand up for truth.
I would guess, because it's funny you say that, because Najee in our best ball neck of the woods has been a very hot topic of conversation, even just the past couple of days. My guess is if you're drafting on Underdog and you like Najee, you're probably getting a lot of him because he's a guy that generally falls, at least in my drafts.
Yeah, no, that's part of what that's part of why he's not going to be a bust. If he was, being taken as the 5th overall pick, I would be like, dude, he doesn't have that kind of upside. But yeah, I mean, I've seen him very late in drafts where a guy that has already been, a top 6 running back and has an offensive line that's being improved, an offense that should get better with a year 2 quarterback. Over the last half of last year, I think he was like the running back 5 the entire second half of the year when he got over his foot injury from training camp. So I am not a disbeliever in Najee personally.
What are you where are you at on Kenny Pickett and like the Steelers offense in general? Do you think they can take the leap this year? I've been drafting a ton of the passing game, hoping they're going to take a big improvement.
I really like where Deontay Johnson. I was super off of Deontay Johnson last year, primarily because of Kenny Pickett, and that worked out pretty well for me. Now he is being drafted basically where he finished last year with rookie year Kenny Pickett, who sucked. I think the offense takes a big step forward to becoming a middle of the pack offense, if that makes sense. They were terrible last year, and I think they're going to be a middle of the pack offense. So that's where you're going to find a lot of value in fantasy, because nobody is super excited about middle of the pack.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a very fair thing, where they're not going to take an Eagles-esque, leap this year, but it could be fun. Oh boy, the stack attack. Go grab a package of Oreos, stack an entire sleeve before your next pick. Do you have Oreos?
We're going to find out, Pete. We're going to find out.
All right. Jason, who famously loves Oreos, let's go see what he has kicking around. He is at his home, not in the Fantasy Footballer studios. I'm trying to think. I do not have Oreos at my house. I would not have been able to complete this prompt. I do think we have a couple Reese's Pieces up there.
I'm looking. I'm in my pantry. Can you hear me?
I can't hear you. Holy cow, your Bluetooth is excellent. I love this. Knowing you're in your pantry, give us some play-by-play. What are we looking
Play by
at?
play. I'm looking through some snacks. I see some granola bars. I see some chips. I am not seeing Oreos. They don't last long in my house.
Do you have anything that could serve as a proxy for Oreos? I want you to get this prompt.
A proxy. Can I turn Ritz crackers into double stuffed Oreos? Is it possible?
I'm going to allow it. Just to give you a shot at this, I am going to allow this because I don't want you to have to take Kenny Golladay, which is what you have to do if you fail this.
Okay. Well, look, you asked for a sleeve. I'll bring sleeves. So I got half of it. Okay. And then now that I've ran, I will sweat even more for the Pete.
Yes. Okay. This is I am.
Did I make it back? Am I on the clock?
Yes. So you have 2 picks to go. All right. We have 2 sleeves here. Let's see.
Let's see the draft board.
Do you need to? I think you need to stack them though to complete this. Can you stack?
Oh, okay.
Maybe if we can get a stack on stack, I think the chat will allow this.
A stack on stack. So what do I have right now? I've got Dak, and I've got AJ Brown. Obviously, Jalen Hurts just went.
I mean, no, they literally want to watch you stack your.
Just physically a stack on stack.
Exactly. Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay, here we go. I think this is what they wanted. I do think this is what the prompt writers wanted on this one. All right. They're playing Jenga with the crack. Okay, there's 1 stack. Oh, baby. Okay, we're counting that. Holy cow. There you go. I think that counts. I mean, if you take a bite out of an entire sleeve of Ritz crackers, you get to pick whoever you want. Josh Jacobs, Mark Andrews, Breece Hall, Calvin Ridley, Keenan Allen, and the aforementioned Najee Harris.
Oh, man. Back of the third, I am usually taking Mark Andrews. Having been forced into Dak early, I'm not going to do that. I'll go with Josh Jacobs.
Okay. Josh Jacobs. Yes. You'll get that running back here. Josh Jacobs at 3.9 feels like a nice value. We're going to go spin here so we can pick quickly. Have you already eaten dinner tonight, or is this just serving as a really nice
This is dinner.
snack?
Yeah, no, this is dinner. Thank you and your audience for such a suggestion.
I could tell you looked satiated there, or unsatiated. All right, we have another throwback. This is part 2 of the throwback. When Mike was on the randomizer, speaking of food, he told a story of you once getting a decadent treat dropped off from your wife after a morning meeting. If you can remember the food item, draft whoever you want. If not, draft Eno Benjamin. Do you remember this?
No, I don't remember this. Hold on. A decadent treat dropped off from my wife after a morning meeting.
I'll give one more clue and say it was a breakfast item.
Okay, a breakfast decadent treat. Oh,
this would have been like right post-COVID.
Oh. A decadent treat. I'm going to go Bananas Foster's French toast, and I think I'm wrong. And I think I'm going to be real upset when I hear this story.
Sexy ass people. That's the next evolution.
I think we were on like a morning meeting, and all of a sudden, like his wife, she's dropping off to him like this homemade deep fried French toast, like for our meeting. And me and Andrew are like, what is happening right now?
None to share on his own?
Him. Yeah, just him.
Wow.
Yeah, that's probably my Bananas Foster's French toast.
I was going to say, you said French toast. I mean, holy, is this like a famous dish in your household?
Yeah, it's one of a few famous dishes that she makes. It's kind of like a almost like a casserole style French toast. It's pretty good. Look, I'm overweight for a reason, Pete.
Holy cow. Well, I think you nailed it on that one. And how are we going to know that Mike didn't know it was Bananas Foster's? That was a little secret
he had no idea.
Yourself.
That's right. I wouldn't tell him because he'd want it too much.
Okay, you get to pick whoever you want. Najee is at the top of the queue. The chat did that for you. Christian Watson, Jerry Jeudy, Jahmyr Gibbs, Hopkins.
Oh, man. So, look, for the brand and for the conversation, I am going to grab Najee. Full disclosure, having one wide receiver after 4 rounds feels disgusting. But let's get gross. I mean, I drafted Dak early. This is what happens.
What is like kind of your preferred structure in those leagues? Do you like getting 3 wide receivers and then like an anchor running back in the 3rd or 4th round?
Yeah, I prefer getting basically one stud running back and 3 early wide receivers. If I'm going later, quarterback and tight end. I'll go 2 and 2, or like I said, I get a lot of Mark Andrews late. If it's late in the third, where I've got a quick wraparound and he's on the board, he's usually an auto pick for me. I think his value is so much. I think by the end of the year, it'll be so much significantly better than Travis Kelce's cost of the 5th overall pick right now.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I definitely like Andrews. People have been sending me some screenshots. They've been getting Andrews and Lamar at the 3-4 turn, which feels like a very fun click there. What marks the start of the fantasy season for you? Because I feel like with best ball, it's like gotten pushed up so much now because we start drafting in February. I used to always associate it with like the Scott Fish Bowl and stuff like that. What now for you is like, all right, we are in the thick of the next season?
So because we're year round and we never stop, we never go away. We're doing dynasty in the off season, and there is no start. There's literally no start, no end to fantasy football. To me, it's August 1st. August 1st is when the season is fully upon us. Training camps are going. That's when we change to 5 shows a week. So we're just every single day putting out a full show. That is where I take a deep breath and get ready for the sprint.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I assume too, like your YouTube and your podcast downloads reflect that too. Like that's when people who are getting ready for their 12-team league are checking stuff out.
Exactly. And it's always a tough time of year because we have talked ad nauseum about all these players.
Yeah.
And we don't want to repeat ourselves, but we also recognize that like 3/4 of our audience weren't here for when we talked about this. So we need to repeat it for the majority of the audience, but then we feel dumb and repetitive. So it's look, the struggle's real. This is a real world problem.
You know what? I feel that problem too. I used to be very bad at like promoting stuff, doing basic hosting duties. Like right now, subscribe to the channel if you would like to watch randomizer drafts every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern, because I'm like, the people I see in the chat, I know they've watched 1 million of my streams. They don't want to hear it, but there are people who are watching this stream for the first time who don't know those things. So I struggle with that dynamic as well.
Well, shout out to the new people, right?
Shout out to the new people. If you are here because of Jason Moore, you can go after the show's over. I'll link back to the old fantasy footballer randomizers as well. So you can go back, stroll down fantasy footballers memory lane. All right. Next prompt. Your new Lions love. You recently stated that David Montgomery could be a league winner. Pete, that's me, notoriously took 0% of Montgomery last year in BBM3. Let the record show I've been drafting him a bit this year. Play best 2 out of 3 rock, paper, scissors. I think that got lost here in the pace. If you win, take Montgomery. If Pete wins, take the next highest Lions running back. How are you in the rock, paper, scissors streets?
So I'm usually undefeated, but I recently got my butt handed to me by Mike, the fantasy hitman, right? So I'm a little nervous here. This is 1, 2, 3 shoot, right?
Yes. So we'll go 1, 2, 3 shoot. Best out of 3. Why don't you call the cadence and I'll follow behind you?
All right. 1, 2, 3 shoot.
Okay, you're up 1-0.
Right.
You're
I'm
rock
up
to my
1-0.
scissors. Here you go.
1, 2, 3 shoot.
1-1,
Okay.
my paper to your rock.
1, 2, 3 shoot.
Oh my goodness. He goes back to the scissors. You stay the rock, paper, scissors king, which means you get to pick whoever you want here. Let's go back to the board. Last time I was at this spot, I said you're on the clock and you were not. You are on deck. I will tell you who's at the top.
Thank you.
A lot
Words
of running
matter.
Can they sure do. Kenneth Walker, Aaron Jones, J.K. Dobbins, Alexander Madison. If you want to look at the receivers, Pittman, JSN, Lockett.
This is, I assume the people in this league are watching this stream and they're just like, I got to take all the wide receivers. He's got one wide receiver. I'm gonna just take them all.
Look at the board.
Okay.
It's all yellow.
Yeah. I mean, so I'll say out loud who I want to take here because of my build. I feel like, because I'm on the clock. All right. The pick is in. I'm going, assuming he wasn't the pick. No, he wasn't. I'm going to take Tyler Lockett.
Okay. Let's do it.
Tyler Lockett is a player at his ADP that I had to stop drafting. I had to tell myself I'm not allowed because my exposure was just too high.
Dude, I'm the same way. Been drafting a ton of Lockett, a ton of JSN. I'm just in on these Seahawks guys. All right. Speaking of exposures in best ball, better in best ball. Tell Pete your top 5 exposures in best ball. I kind of know one of them already. If Pete can guess the correct exposure for 2 of them within 5%, within a 5% threshold, draft whoever. If not, draft a player you have none of. So can you read off your top 5 to me?
Yeah, let me pull that up on here real quick. This will be the post NFL draft.
Yeah.
NFL season exposure. My top 5. Tyler Lockett, Rashee
number
Rice, Cooper Kupp, Austin Eckler, and Najee Harris.
Okay, I want to ask one more question. How many drafts have you done for this?
Right now,
sample?
this type is 24.
24. Okay. I am going to try to guess your Tyler Lockett and your Najee and try to get within 5%. You made it sound like you are going very hard on Tyler Lockett. And since you're at 24, 25 drafts, I could see you drafting him in almost every other league. I'll bring it down a smidge. I will say you have 43% Tyler Lockett. And before you answer, let me get my Najee guess in as well. I don't think you have as much of him because I'm guessing there's some other running backs you sometimes like taking in round 3. I'm going to say you're at 18% Najee Harris.
Okay, so I'm at 40.9% on Tyler Lockett. That's a win for Pete.
Yep.
And then my Najee is 27%.
Ooh, you were even higher than I expected. I think that's my own anti-Najee bias bleeding into that answer. But I did get one. What does the prompt say? If I can guess the correct exposure for 2 of them. Oh, I guess I get one more though. I can keep guessing.
Well, I think you're supposed to. Yeah. So let's go with Cooper Kupp, who is my 3rd highest exposure.
I will say you were at 29% Cooper Kupp.
31. So you
31. You can pick whoever. Quick. J.K. Dobbins, Mike Evans, Treylon Burks. Who do you want?
I'm going to take Treylon. I'm a believer in the talent, and I need the wide receivers. He's someone that I expect to have a really good season, unless Hopkins goes there.
I know what is the deal with this, man? Like Hopkins is confusing me so much. I know you guys had some boots on the ground, being in Arizona with him. He clearly has no interest in winning a Super Bowl, right? Like that's safe to say.
I think he has interest in winning a Super Bowl, and I don't think that is his primary goal. No, he'll end up with whoever's going to pay him the most money. That's what I believe in. And I think today I was seeing that the Devontae Parker deal might be a precursor in reworking that cap space to be able to actually sign Hopkins to the Patriots, which I would be thrilled with that because I feel like who does that hurt? Juju? Like who cares?
Yeah, exactly. That is like the push pull with it. And I was even thinking about this through an ADP lens, and I've been seeing him drop. I took him in a Dalmatian slow draft today at like pick 52, now in the 5th round, where I'm fine with him there. It seemed like his old price was assuming he was going to go to the Chiefs or the Bills or something. And that just seems so unlikely at this point.
Yeah.
Do you have any other, I mean, on the Treylon Burks stuff, like where are you assuming 17 games from Ryan Tannehill at this point, or what kind of assumption are you working under when you take Burks? Cause I like Burks too. And I'm just kind of throwing my hands up in the air with the quarterback situation.
Yeah. I know from the people that, are in and around and close to the Titans that they really want to replace Ryan Tannehill. I mean, they just hate him. That being said, I'm a believer in Mike Vrabel. I actually think Tannehill's decent. If Derrick Henry is still King Henry, then they're going to win more games than expectation. And if that happens, Tannehill doesn't get replaced. So, yeah, I mean, for me to be pro Treylon Burks, that would be saying we're getting, 17 games from Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah. Are you, where are you at on Derrick Henry? Are you scooping him up in the 3rd round these days?
Yeah, I am. Derrick Henry he's not one of those guys with a medium range of outcomes, right? Like he's going to be a top 5 running back or he's going to be DUN. It's just over. That's how it happens for guys like that. So, if he was a 1st rounder, too much risk. But if he's in the third round, what are you doing? Like, you can't get a guy usually there that, I mean, what has he done up to this moment? Just dominate, just absolutely dominate. What's the last thing we saw him do? Just be great. He was great for fantasy last year. He's catching the ball a little bit more. So yeah, I mean, I'm in at the price for Derrick Henry.
And people, I know you're not a huge schedule bro, but they do famously play the Texans twice in the fantasy playoffs. That doesn't hurt the cause here. All right. We referenced you're in Arizona, big Phoenix Suns fan. Suns out, guns out. You want to roll up your sleeves, give us a flex, and in your best wrestling heel fashion, tell us why the Nuggets are frauds and the Suns should have been the rightful NBA champions.
Oh, yeah. Let me tell you why. Because Jokic is a Jokic. He's not the Joker. He's the biggest, fattest, fakest star that the NBA has ever seen. You want to know what the Nuggets did to get a championship? They beat an 8 seed. They beat a 7 seed. They beat a 4 seed. They beat nothing. They just beat the Suns. And oh, wait, was Chris Paul there? No, he was injured. It took injury to get them there. The Suns are better. Jokic sucks, and the Nuggets are frauds.
Bravo. Nailed the prompt. Jokic, definitely a guy who has enjoyed some Banana Foster French toast, I would say, in his day.
Yeah, for sure. It is funny around the office. One of our employees who's from Denver loves the Nuggets, and I've joked for years that you can only win a championship if you have a super duper star, and you guys don't. And so now they won the championship, and I said, like, this is, they bucked the trend. They proved that I was wrong. You don't need a super duper star to win a championship.
There you go. You got to keep the needles going even after they hang the banner there. Yeah, I mean, it did seem like things were setting up for the Suns super well this year with just the West feeling wide open. But the Nuggets, man, they went on a roll. But that promo, you had me shaking in my boots, and I grew up in Denver just hearing that. I was like, you know what? He's right. They're frauds. Yeah. All right. I'll do my caveat again. You're on deck. Is there any position you would like me to tab over to?
Let's see here. I am curious what quarterbacks are there. So, okay, quarterbacks. Let me see the tight ends real quick.
Yep.
Just going to quickly see what's available. Oh, Goddard's interesting. For the most part, the way that I play is if I don't get an early stud, if I don't get Kelsey, which I usually don't, basically if I don't get Andrews, then I grab 3 guys at like the 130 to 160. So probably out on that. I think I'm going to look. So I've got A.J. Brown, Tyler Lockett, Treylon Burks, and then 2 running backs right now.
Yep, Jacobs and
So let's
Harris.
just show me running backs and wide receivers. I'm going to take one of those.
Yep.
Am I on the clock? Okay, we'll go quick. I'm going to go Cam Akers.
Cam Akers at the top of the queue. Nice little ADP value here for Jason, scooping up that value. The team now, Dak Prescott, Josh Jacobs, Najee Harris, Cam Akers, A.J. Brown, Tyler Lockett, Treylon Burks, shaping for a punt tight end build. I want to get your Akers thoughts in a second, but we must spin the wheel for our next pick. First, here we go. This one came in on Twitter. Slide on down. Do you have the slide whistle with you?
Oh, it's at the studio.
Oh no. I think we can play the figurative slide whistle. Play the slide whistle in between explaining who you'd like to select or draft Devontae Parker. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull up the board again, and I believe if you can just give me some slide whistles in between analysis, will allow you to pick who you'd like.
Okay, well, we don't need any more running backs right now. So let's take a look at wide receivers. We got Elijah Moore and Michael Thomas. That's a joke. I think his value is good, but you think he's going to be on the field? Yeah, right. You got Jameson Williams being, obviously suspended. Juju Smith-Schuster's about to get Hopkins. I don't think there's a lot of good options there, which means I'm looking for ceiling. And at ceiling, we're talking probably back to Michael Thomas. That would be my pick.
The slide wheel just getting increasingly sad as it realized its options at wide receiver in a draft room like this.
Sad. What are you Michael Thomas?
Man, I took him on one of my drafts the other morning. He is not my favorite click. I kind of like the Saints this year. I draft a lot of Olave. I draft a lot of Kendre Miller. I've been coming around on Taysom Hill being a cheat code again. Oh, Michael Thomas does go. So now you can be even more sad. You want to grab the Goddard fall?
I've only got 4.5% exposure. Yeah, you know what? Let's grab Goddard. Let's this draft is already different than any of my other drafts, obviously, so might as well take a player that I actually believe in that's on the board as opposed to just the position that I want.
I just like with the Michael Thomas stuff, I'm the same way with Odell. And I'm even doing it with like a guy like Jameson Williams. Just these guys who have been injured and haven't played for a long time. I get really spooked about them. Even Calvin Ridley. I'm basically kind of soft fading almost that entire cohort of players.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's I'm not as anti Calvin Ridley as you, but that makes sense. You know, everything we do in fantasy football is just a bet on probability, a bet on, you know, what's the likeliest outcome. And if you just look historically, players don't get better once they've peaked. You know what I mean? If they were good and then they've been bad for a little bit, there's not a lot of examples of like, oh yeah, they're back, baby.
Yeah, and it's tough too because it was like, you know, what if like, you know, Aaron Rodgers had gone to the Saints, you know, and then it's like Aaron Rodgers with Michael Thomas, and you're like, all right, I can kind of squint, I can kind of see it. I just don't know if Derek Carr is enough of an elevator of talent to not only get Chris Olave his and them run the ball a ton and also let Michael Thomas bounce back. His price still feels like a couple rounds too expensive to me, I guess it would be my final take.
Yeah, based on my 4% exposure, I would agree that I don't usually take Michael Thomas.
I think
honestly, I went and I searched because I was like, I could not remember ever drafting him this offseason, pre-NFL draft or post.
The reason is us Michael Thomas drafters, we have selective amnesia. We take him and then we forget that it ever happened, I think is how it works. All right, I'm going to recap the team here, and then we're going to spin the wheel. So as Nick, shout out to producer Nick, tonight helped put together a lot of these prompts. He says, this might be the best randomizer team so far this season. No grenades yet. Yeah, we did avoid the Keontae Ingrams, the Kenny Gallaudays. I guess the Dak Prescott was the big grenade at 16, but you've recovered Dak Prescott at quarterback, Josh Jacobs, Najee Harris, Cam Akers at running back, A.J. Brown, Tyler Lockett, Treylon Burks at wide receiver, Dallas Goedert. I think you can make this team work.
Okay.
Well, you don't sound convinced.
I mean, look, I'm going to do my best. I do think we need to see, you know, let's put maybe Brandon Cooks, Michael Gallup, you know, start them for future reference. I need to know whereabouts I need to take them. But yeah, let's spin the wheel.
Yeah, Brandon Cooks is gone. I like, so you mentioned the stacking there. I was curious, how much are you prioritizing stacking even in those 12-team individual leagues?
Yeah, even not in the tournament play, I'm always going to try to stack. You know, usually whenever I draft a quarterback or a high-end wide receiver, I'll just go and I'll star their stacking partner. And every now and then it works bad. Like when I drafted Cooper Kupp in the first and then accidentally auto-picked Matthew Stafford in the second because he was in my queue. You know, you win some, you lose some.
I had someone in my draft the other day at Best Ball Mania that started with Justin Jefferson and then clearly thought it was a slow draft or got pulled away, but had starred up the entire Minnesota Vikings team. So it just went. And so they took Dwayne McBride at the 6th round. And it was like, all right, thank you for your donation. All right, we got a prompt. Give me more. This one came in from our friend Ryan McDowell. Name the QB one, the running back one, the wide receiver one, and the tight end one on Underdog last year from 2022. If successful, draft the Jason or Moore of your choice. If unsuccessful, draft Jason Moore. Can you go through those top 4 positional scorers here?
Yeah, I feel like that should be easy, but maybe there's a trap here. You got Mahomes as quarterback 1 last year. You have, I think the trap would be thinking it was Christian McCaffrey, but I think it was Austin Eckler as running back 1.
You got that.
Justin Jefferson, and then tight end is not up for debate. That was Kelsey.
You nailed it. You nailed it. Now, the real question is how much of a corner did Ryan box us into here? I'll do a search. The Jasons are not looking good. Jason Kroom, Huntley, Moore. How are the?
I would take Jason Moore out of that list.
Yeah, actually, I forgot. We are rich with Moores here. I might have pulled this up too quickly though with some of these snipers, but Sky Moore and Rondell Moore look decent there. Do you have any preferences for the Moores or Jasons?
The Moores are better than the Jasons, for sure. So, I would, yes, Jason Witten. I mean, you want that stack with Dak, so it makes complete
exactly.
sense.
We wind the clock back, and this thing just looks incredible. Back in the day. No. Which of the Moores do you like? You are going to get one of them.
Oh, I do have to draft them more. I thought I had to draft them if I got it wrong.
If successful, Ryan's a jerk, man. Everyone knows Ryan. Draft the Jason
well done.
or Moore of your choice.
I should have gone Christian McCaffrey. Okay, so then in that case, I would definitely take Rondale before Sky. So that's basically the only options, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to box you out of other Moores.
Yeah, DJ's gone.
So
Rondale,
Chris Jackson
Moore.
has enjoyed sniping you tonight, so it has to be Rondale unless Jamon Moore.
Are we on the clock?
We are.
Oh, then yeah, Rondale Moore. That's fine.
And
again, there's a path for him to be good this year. I'm not completely 100% off of Rondale. I'm not wanting to draft him here, but I will.
You know what I'll say though? You also get a little Week 17 correlation. Rondale Moore plays your Dallas Goedert and AJ Brown in Week 17, so you are going to be cooking that final week.
Thank goodness we have your mind here, Pete.
Okay. I knew this was going to come up. You love pickleball. I hate pickleball. And yet this prompt says a pickleball truce. Jason must try to get Pete to capitulate and give pickleball a chance. If Pete gives in and promises to play a game, take whoever you please. If not successful, take a player you believe would be dominant on the pickleball court. So I'm telling you, I'm going to be a tough crowd. I'm reading all these articles. People are getting hurt. You guys are bulldozing playgrounds, retirement centers, hospitals to build these pickleball courts. Why should I want to play this, Jason?
You look, if I can talk about your body, you look like a man who cares about health, a man who takes care of himself, a man that exercises and is obviously very handsome. So that being said, I think that, this is a sport that fat people like me need. They need to be able to exercise and to get a dream of looking like Pete Overzet. And if you were to experience the competitiveness, because I know you're a competitive guy, I know you just love having fun and competing with friends or enemies. If you were to go out on a pickleball court in support of health and being pro-handsome, anti-fat, I think that if you would make that agreement for me as a friend to go out on the court, that you would find the competition aspect is worth your time. You would love it, and you'd want to get better at it. That's my pitch.
I want to say you are brilliant in that, trying to appeal to my looks and physique, really buttering me up. I almost am willing to capitulate just how smart you are, but I'm never playing that godforsaken sport. So you have to pick a player who you think would be dominant on the pickleball court. Do you have any names that stand out?
Well, we're looking for height and length here. We want long arms. Njoku certainly stands out there.
Michael
Chig.
Gallup.
Oh,
Chig.
I mean, look, I'm gonna be a man of my word here. I don't think Michael Gallup, who I would rather have than for the stack, but if I really want some,
David,
who do we auto draft? Oh, that's who I was. That's who I was going to draft. Great.
Okay.
That's not an auto draft then.
David Njoku is a grown ass man. Do you really think though we should waste? His time playing pickleball. This physique, this talent. You think he'd? This is what you want to see out on the pickleball court?
That is not what I want to see out on the pickleball court. Goodness, no, not unless he's my teammate. But yeah, it's really unfair. Andy is very skilled. He's the best of the three of us. But it is unfair that he has height and length where he can get balls we just can't get.
So that is like a legitimate thing with pickleball, the height stuff. It's like boxing. If you have a longer reach, you have just a huge advantage.
Yeah, there's a space near the net called the kitchen, and you can't get closer to the net than that. So if the balls are not very high, you can't do much with them. But if you're longer and you can reach more towards the net, you can do more with them than I could do.
So what kind of are you guys just playing like casually? Are you playing doubles? Are you guys in tournaments? Like how deep into this perverted world are you guys?
We're deep, man. we bought a warehouse space and converted it into the Pickle Palace. So we have our own fantasy footballers, air conditioned pickle studio that we play at least 3 times a week. We do doubles, we do tournaments, and get our sweat on. So
See,
and we're real good.
Have you guys made content around playing pickleball?
We haven't. We've never really made content around it. I've made a paddle. I shout out to ballerpickleball.com. Myself and our producer Jeremy Grantham, we have produced a paddle, and it is a great paddle. It's like a $200 paddle. It's only $100.
Well, this is
Good
what
deal.
I'm realizing, because I've been rallying against this sport. It's been a cause I've taken up on Twitter, and yet I'm realizing
I've seen it.
I'm the one in my basement, streaming, all of my drafts, and you guys are out here building warehouses and playing pickleball in your free time. It feels like in a lot of ways, pickleball has opened up the world to you to live a life of leisure. And I'm just the old man shaking my fist at the clouds from my basement.
Here's the thing about that last pick. You said that you're not going to play pickleball. That I did not win the argument. And the truth is, Pete, you will play pickleball. You will absolutely play pickleball before you die. There's no chance you die.
Oh, you are completely right, because when you turn 70, that is when you start playing pickleball, Jason. So I do think that checks out. I will play pickleball before I die.
See?
I mean,
so I should have been able to draft anybody.
The pickleball court is basically God's waiting room, is how I see it, Jason. And so that's why I get worried about you guys out there.
Do you think God made a bad waiting room? I mean, God made a beautiful waiting room that you are blessed to participate in.
You know what? I've opened the door for it. I don't know if you would have seen this one. I think it was last year. I was trying to was it when Jamar Chase was out hurt for a little bit? And I said, if he was back in time, I think it was like they had like a 4-week injury timeline. And I was like, if he's back in 3 weeks, I will play pickleball. That's how bad I wanted Jamar Chase back on the field. He didn't end up making it. So I was spared having to play. But one of these days you might get me, but I'm not going to like it. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. If you come to Arizona, we'll get you out to Pickle Palace and we'll play.
Wow.
That's an open invitation, Pete.
Okay. All right. I know David Kitchen wants to make it out to your Pickle Palace. All right, we got a little trivia here. Future Hall of Famer. Since 2010, there has been 6 former Cardinals players to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Name 3 of them or draft the next Cardinals Hall of Famer, Larry Fitzgerald. How big of a Cardinals fan are you?
I'm not a big enough Cardinals fan. If Andy were watching right now, he'd be screaming all 6 of them, I'm sure. And I'm sitting here going, oh, man, is Larry Finters a Hall of Famer?
So the one thing I will say is I'm looking at these 6 names.
Kurt Warner. I know Kurt Warner's.
Yes, you got one. I was going to
one.
say I know 3 of these. 3 of them I've never heard of. So you've named one of the 3 I've heard of.
Oh man, Aeneas Williams, is he in there? Probably not.
Yeah, Aeneas Williams is one of them. Sorry, that was the guy I did not know. Yeah, so you have now 2. Yes.
Kurt Warner, Aeneas Williams. I'm sure when I hear them, I'll feel really bad about myself. I don't even know if I've got any other guesses. Larry Center wasn't on there, right?
No.
So end of list. give me the names.
Okay. Well, the 2 that I thought were low hanging would have been Edgerrin James and Emmitt Smith.
I don't think of Edgerrin James as a Cardinal or Emmitt Smith. Come on. I get it. They were Cardinals. And if I had ever remembered that they were Cardinals for a minute, I would have clearly known they're Hall of Famers. That is nonsense.
Hey,
what were the other names?
I will tell you here after I put Larry Fitzgerald selection for you. So much for those grenades there. The other ones here were Alan Phaneca. Someone in the chat want to correct? Phaneca?
Alan Phaneca? I think I've heard that name before. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Are you from Arizona originally? Or are you a transplant?
No, I'm pretty much from here. I wasn't born here, but I was here since I was 6 months old. So yeah.
Okay. All right. You know what? I
grew up a basketball fan, so I'm a one sport kind of guy.
I hear you. I hear you on that. Okay. Well, we got some more Cardinals trivia here. back-to-back, Super Bowl, whatever this Roman numeral is. Guess how many fantasy points, half PPR, Larry Fitzgerald had in Super Bowl, whatever that is, within 3 points. If correct, take whoever you like. If you're incorrect, take the next highest, Cardinal or Steeler. Can you maybe talk us through?
Yeah, I mean, he was awesome in that game. Had a late game breakaway touchdown run that was probably 40 yards, maybe longer. So he had a great game. I'm going to say he had. This is half PPR. So I'm going to guess his stat line was something like 7 for 120 and a touchdown. So I'm going to go 8 for 120 and a touchdown. So you're talking 12, 16, 20, 20 fantasy points.
Holy cow, dude. So you were so spot on with the stat line. The correct one is 7 for 127. I was like, holy shit. He had 2 touchdowns.
Oh, no, I forgot a touchdown.
2 touchdowns for 28.2 fantasy points.
I did Larry dirty.
You did. I mean, but that was still pretty impressive. I gotta give that. I mean, just you knowing a stat line, but let me make sure here. You do have to take the next highest, Cardinal or Steeler. So we can
show me the list.
This. Let me do Arizona here. Kyler would be the next highest. Arizona.
Heck yeah.
And Pittsburgh would be Kenny Pickett. You get to choose. You get a quarterback. Kenny Pickett.
It's definitely Kyler. Kyler is a great value right now. Obviously the Cardinals are projected to be one of the worst teams in the league. I think they've got the second highest odds at the number 1 pick. And so I think there's a lot of assumption that means they're going to hold Kyler out as long as possible. And that very well could happen. But he's being drafted like that is a guarantee that he is absolutely going to miss, 4, 5, 6 games. I don't think it's unrealistic that he's there week 1. And if he is, then getting him in the 12th round, even if, he's obviously not as full strength as he will be in the future, this is a guy who's just never not been good for fantasy in any game he's played. So I'm more bullish on him in dynasty leagues because I think his value is so wrong right now because of the injury and the the long-term future is going to be great. But yeah, I'm happy to have Kyler here.
So I have no problem with the Kyler if I'm not getting production from him at the beginning of the season, because I'm like, I'll just paper over that. I'll get other quarterbacks to cover for me. I think the worry is, could the Cardinals be so bad that they just shut him down and they're like, why would we risk him being out there?
No.
Do you think he is likely to play like weeks 10 through 17?
100% to play. There's other than re-injury, there's no chance they would shut him down at all. This team has fully committed to him with every kind of action. They traded back up to draft Kerryon Johnson, who Kyler wanted. They, days before the NFL draft, got flack for flying out to a statue unveiling of Kyler. They have fully invested and supported both the new general manager and the new head coach. Kyler's the guy. If the Cardinals get the number 1 overall pick next year, and you've got, the sensation Caleb that everyone wants to draft, they will trade that number 1 pick and they will keep Kyler. That's my belief.
Wow. You know what? I needed this take because in my heart of hearts, I'm like, in this landscape where QBs are getting chased up the board and we're all just hunting for quarterback upside cheap. Like finding quarterback upside cheap is almost impossible. It's why Anthony Richardson's a 9th and 10th round pick. Kyler, when on the field, we know he's one of the few people who can challenge for top 5 upside. And I've even found myself getting gun shy, just worrying about the in-game stuff. But if you're going to give me that confidence that he's not getting shut down, I'm ready.
He's not getting shut down. I mean, think about it was Kenny Pickett or Kyler Murray. They were close to each other in ADP. It's like, who's breaking into best ball lineup? If Kyler plays half a season and Kenny Pickett plays an entire season, who cracks your lineup and scores more fantasy points at the end for you? It's going to be Kyler.
Okay. All right. I like it. You got me on board. I needed that. All right, here we go. Redirect it. This is from Waz. He wants you to purchase a domain name relevant to the player you want to draft next and forward it to the fantasyfootballers.com. Have you purchased any domain names for players?
We've got a whole lot of domain names. It's not usually players. We just buy stupid things like Tuesday Night Football. When there was a game on Tuesday Night Football, TuesdayNightFootball.com goes to us. The groin index, that'll just forward to the fantasy footballers. In fact, we built a groin index for all groin injuries that automates. So we do a lot of stupid stuff like that.
Thegroinindex.com.
Just groin index.
Oh, I had the in there. Just groin index.
Just groin index.
Go.
And it'll show whoever is currently hurt and their quotes.
There we go. So real quick, I know I didn't leave you enough time to actually purchase a domain name, but if you could tell me a domain you would buy to redirect to the fantasy footballers based on a player here, tell me which player you would want to draft and what domain you would like to create.
Okay, I got 2 for me early-ish tight ends, so I'm probably out there. What's my build here? 4 and 5. I've got 2 quarterbacks.
2, 3, 5,
so I'm looking at probably a wide receiver, but I'll look at exactly. Alec Pierce, KJ Osborne. Let me just see the wide receivers real quick.
Yep. Groin Nation right there. The groin index.
groin. Okay, so and let me see the running backs again.
Yeah. You got a little Tank Bigsby, Roshan, some rooks, Algier Ford.
And my current running backs are
Jacobs, Harris, Akers. You got 12 seconds.
Oh, let's go wide receiver. I'm gonna take Mims.
Mims, and what's the domain gonna be?
It's gonna be Mimstheword.com.
Yes, that's what I went to. Let's see if anyone has squatted on this one. Mims.
Yeah, if it's available, it will forward to the fantasy footballers tomorrow.
Okay, hugedomains.com. Oh my God.
It will not forward to the fantasy footballers tomorrow. I mean, if it was like, it's $50, I'd probably shell out, but
I mean, this buys another wing at the Pickleball Palace. I mean, holy cow. For the audio listeners, the domain is available for sale for almost $1,800. Holy cow. What if you did try to see maybe throw a Z in there, mimstheword.com. It's just not as good though.
Its name isn't spelled that way.
Now I'm kind of curious who just mumstheword.com. What does that go to?
Oh, that's got to be 20,000 mums.
But you would think someone would already be squatting on that. Man, this is I'm on the edge of my seat. It doesn't. Maybe someone hasn't bought mumstheword.com. Maybe that's your big retirement gateway right there.
Huge opportunity.
All right. I need to spin the wheel here. Also, shout out Sean for the super chat. That's very nice of you. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Jason crushing it here on the randomizer draft. Nice to take a break from drafting best ball teams to get in the randomizer best ball streets. All right. Yes and more. A little improv phrase here. Chat suggests a noun. So chat, throw us out a noun here. Until the next pick, Pete and Jason must yes and the suggestion to be bigger, better, more, etc. If either failed, draft Jason Moore. So this would be like someone says boat, and then I say yacht, and then you say cruise ship. You got it. All right, cheese is the first suggestion I see. Do you want to start with cheese?
Kraft single.
Kraft single. A block of cheddar cheese.
A wheel of cheese.
Ooh, a wheel of cheese. A house made of cheese that large mice live in.
The people of Wisconsin.
Just the entire group of Wisconsin.
They are all cheese.
Well, the sun actually melts and turns into just a heaping ball of cheese melting over the galaxy.
That's a good one, man. The sun. I wish I knew the names of other bigger stars. I'm not Googling this. I guess I got Jason Moore, which, to be fair, he's a great bench guy. I mean, this is someone that's going to be good for the locker room. If you think this is the first time I've drafted Jason Moore, it's not. Sometimes when I'm in a league, I need to use my last pick on Jason Moore just for,
just for that symmetry. There you
absolutely.
go. I will be completely honest, and this is actually flattering to you. When I hear Jason Moore, I immediately think of the fantasy footballers, Jason Moore. I've never once thought about the football player. So in my mind, you are, in the hierarchy of Jason Moore's there. So that's
Thank
gotta
you,
be
thank you. To be fair, I think almost nobody knows the player Jason Moore. His family
Yeah.
is about it, and me because I share his name, and the jokes abound.
You know what? I can't help but notice here. You can't toss this guy a follower. I'm looking at my mutual follows. He's only followed by one
Oh,
of my guys here. I mean, you not following him. That's a tough
I
scene
should
for you,
really, yeah,
Jason.
I should really follow.
Here's the thing. No one troll him. No one do anything mean, but everyone give Jason Moore some follows on Twitter tonight, and he'll just
What
be
is
pleasantly surprised.
what is
It's
his handle?
J Smooth _7. There you go.
Okay.
While Jason's doing this, a reminder, tonight I'm doing another show here in about 30 minutes, Best Ball After Dark, having Adam Levitan on from ETR. That is for YouTube members. Excited to talk to Adam. Haven't caught up with him in a while. He's been doing all kinds of tennis prop bets, talk a little dad life, maybe a little best ball, maybe a draft. So if you're a YouTube member on the channel, you do get access to those member only streams. That will be basically immediately following this at 9:30. Jason, let's recap your team here. I do think Nick jinxed you saying there were no grenades on this team early, because we have gotten some grenades. Dak Prescott and Kyler Murray at quarterback. Josh Jacobs, Najee Harris, Cam Akers at running back. You're doing good there. Wide receiver, A.J. Brown, Tyler Lockett, Treylon Burks, Rondell Moore, Larry Fitzgerald, Marvin Mimstheword, and Jason, not me, Jason Moore. Tight ends, Dallas Goedert and David. I should be on the pickleball court, Njoku. It's fine. I think we can make this work.
I'm pretty sure I'm gonna win. I mean, when I look at that with some Hall of Famers and my namesake, I don't see how it goes wrong. How many picks we got left? Where are we at?
We have 4 more
Three?
picks, 15, 16, 17, 18. Let's spin the wheel and see what we have on tap here. Thank you guys again, as always, for, I didn't remove this prompt. That is on me being a bad host. We will spin again. The wheel's so nice, you had to spin it twice. Am I now on the hook for 2 failed not removing these prompts? Oh my goodness.
But I'm
taking a
going
drink.
to answer that question.
28.2 points. Holy shit. What happened to me? Did I just forget to remove 3 prompts in a row?
Yeah, I think, you should be punished at this point.
Yes. Holy cow. All right. We got a new one. I'm taking another drink for that. All right. My guys. Jason must name his 4 my guys, 3 plus 1 you were sniped on from last year. If he cannot name them, draft Zeke. Do you remember this show?
I know Jalen Hurts was one. I know my sniped one was Michael Pittman. Gabe Davis was one. Oh gosh, I remember why I couldn't remember the last one. It's bad. It's real bad. It's about as bad as it could get. Is Chase?
So who did you?
Thankfully, he was in the 8th round, so it wasn't didn't cost too much. But when you don't even finish on the team, that's not good.
Yes, that is correct. Did you say all 4? Or did you just say the 3?
No, I said all 4.
Yeah. Okay. Jalen Hurts, Chase Edmonds, Gabe Davis, and Michael Pittman. He got him. When do you guys do your my guys draft?
That's usually later, mid-August, somewhere around there.
Yeah. Do you think Najee's shaping up to be a my guy?
No, I don't think so. There's people that I think are values, but I doubt he would go all the way to a my guy.
Let's see here. You are going to get to pick whoever you want. Dare I say you could even pick one of your guys here available at 15-9 if you do, in fact, have a guy. I would say the value pockets of the board is kind of lining up. You might be looking for a running back here. We definitely have some options available. Any other positions you'd like to look at?
Yeah, I'm probably looking running back here, and there's a couple of them that I see right in front of me that I like all of them. So Yeah, let me just see the running backs as a
Yep.
whole. Yeah. How far away am I? Oh, are we on the clock?
Yeah, we're on the clock. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I'll take Deonta Foreman. I think he's the one personally that I would rather have the most from that backfield. I don't invest a lot in the Bears backfield with Fields being a touchdown vulture and not really a dump off guy, but I think Deonta Foreman is talented and will win the job ahead of Khalil Herbert.
Oh man. Okay. I remember this one. All right. This is very simple. So this is a two-parter, and we got to go quickly here. Pick a number between 1 and 10. That's the first thing you need to do. 2. Okay. This was very doable. Thank you. So the secret mission is this. We both must combine to put on that many white shirts before the next pick. Otherwise, select James White. How many white shirts do you have available near you?
I have 2 white shirts. They aren't near me.
Okay.
How much time do we have?
Mine aren't near me either. You go.
Let's go.
4 picks. All right. Jason's going. This was one of those prompts where I obviously knew it was on there. However, all of my white shirts are upstairs, and I have I have like 9 white V-neck shirts that I wear as undershirts. And I thought there was a chance Jason, who famously wears primarily black shirts, wouldn't have any. And if he said 9 or 10, that I would have to run upstairs and grab all of my undershirts to put on stream. But I'm feeling very blessed. I get to keep the suns out, guns out, sit here, drink my Modelo while Jason goes and grabs white shirts. Also, I did want to check on this one for Joycey. If I become a member, I can watch all the old After Darks. Yep, those are all on demand. There's a playlist. I have all of those. I think I'm up to like 12 or 13 of those. Maybe I'm a little high, but I've basically been doing them every week. Oh, baby. The white shirt.
So and these are combined?
This is combined. So all we needed was 2 total. I was prepared to run up to my room and grab a bunch of undershirts.
I got both.
Oh, baby. So talk to me about this, because you are primarily a black shirt guy, right? Is this hard for you to put on?
Yes. I am beyond primarily. I am exclusively.
Yeah.
A black shirt, bro. I own 3 white shirts. They are all undershirts. It's the only time I would wear them. See, the thing is, Pete, I don't know if you know this, but the lighter the color, it's going to kind of reflect the light a little bit, and my tits are going to show up more. So I prefer black where my boobs are hidden.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something about sweating, because I was like, do you see sweat stains more on white shirts?
Look, there's so many advantages of the black shirts. But primarily it's just. There we go.
Okay, so you have done this real quick. We only have 13 seconds on the clock. You are going to get to pick whoever you want. Which position do you want me to look at here? We got Zeke, John Mechie, Paris Campbell, Dawson Knox, Shakir, Jeff Wilson.
I'm actually going to take Zeke. Take Zeke.
Okay, take Zeke.
Because he's a cowboy.
That's what people are starting to say. That's what we're starting to hear.
That's what I thought for a while.
It does seem like the most logical place. And again, if you're trying to find the best landing spot for him for fantasy, it has to be the Cowboys. I can't think of a better spot for him to have any value.
100%. There's nowhere he's going to go where he's going to get the amount of work that he got there. And with the depth chart right now, I mean, you got Tony Pollard and some scraps, and you got a Schottenheimer-led team that wants to run the ball a lot. It just doesn't make sense for me for Zeke not to show up.
Yeah. I think we're destined there as well. I do have to ask about the shirt thing. The other thing I often hear from people for why they wear the same thing, it's the old Steve Jobs thing, right? I don't have to devote any additional thought to what I wear, and I want to reserve all of that mental energy for the rest of my life so I can make all these more important decisions. Does that weigh into it for, no decision fatigue with your clothing choices?
Totally. I just really want to reserve my thoughts for more important decisions. And so that's a big part of my wardrobe is to really maximize the rest of my life.
That's the spin zone you need. Stop telling people it's because it's more flattering or more slimming or whatever. You need to tell people that when you are having to look at architectural specs for a new wing at the Pickleball Palace, that you need to not be bogged down by which striped polo you're putting on.
Exactly right. No, they're all the same. They are the same striped black polo.
Do you what are your on the whole, what are your YouTube commenters like? Will they chirp you guys based on what you're wearing? Because I feel like there is this YouTube commenter phenomenon. Like if you have one thing off in your background or your hat slightly askew, people will call it out. What do they come after you for?
We've got a really nice audience. They don't really come after us much. They'll give us shout outs for, like if Andy or Mike's wearing a certain hat, if Andy's wearing a Rocket League hat, be like, oh, you play Rocket League, I love Rocket League or whatever. But that's pretty much it. I'm sure if I showed up to the show in, a white shirt, the comments would flow because I'm our one of our producers last year in kind of a game show style trivia thing did the research on my colored shirts. And I think there was like 2 out of the last 200 shows where it wasn't a black or gray shirt. And I think one of those was like a costume.
That's incredible. Yeah. Someone had just recently said to me, because I wore a shirt that had sleeves the other day, that was a rarity. And I was like, someone needs to go back because I'm pretty sure I was wearing hoodies and long sleeves there for a while. But hey, it's nice to not have to dress up to go to work, right? Like that's the benefit of all this.
Yeah.
All right. We have 2 more picks, Jason. You are in the home stretch, pick 17 and 18 here. We have more trivia. Bust trivia. What is the full name of Josh Rosen? He famously has a pretty crazy full name. Are you familiar with this?
Joshua Rosen. Am I right? Full name Joshua. A lot of people shorten it to Josh and they just call him Josh Rosen, and that's not on the birth certificate. It's Joshua. And so, no, I have no idea what his name is.
So this is straight from Wikipedia here. Joshua Ballinger Lippincott Rosen. I wasn't sure if this had been, I remembered that he had a crazy name. I would not have gotten that right myself. But yeah, I mean, right here on the birth certificate, that is Wikipedia.
To be fair, it is indeed Joshua.
It is. You did get part of that. You just missed the Ballinger Lippincott part.
Oh, I was so close.
Yes. The 2 things that Josh Rosen, the 3 things he's most famous for, one, having an inflatable hot tub in his dorm room at UCLA, being a bust, and having the middle name Ballinger Lippincott. I mean, that's a pretty good resume.
Yeah.
I do.
What was the punishment here?
Yeah, I just need to check that here. I don't think you're gonna like it. If incorrect, draft Josh Rosen.
Okay. Look, Larry Fitzgerald and Josh Rosen. I've got a lot of Cardinals here.
Well, here's the thing, though. According to this underdog blurb, I don't know how up to date it is. 6 months ago, joins Minnesota's practice squad. So maybe you're just a Kirk Cousins.
Maybe he's throwing to Justin Jefferson any minute now.
Any minute. Just line that up. Justin Jefferson is going to unlock Joshua Ballinger Lippincott Rosen's career. I think it can happen. See, guys, you guys are saying Kyler handcuff. Are you guys doing insider stuff? You're connecting the dots, getting him back to Arizona there?
Yeah. Arizona loves him.
Yeah. With welcome arms, open arms here.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. What a one to go out on here. I wish I was a baller. Pete and Jason must sing along to or recite lyrics from Skilo's I Wish I Was a Baller or draft a former college basketball player. Luckily for you, Jason, I have prepared for this, and I got a karaoke track in the StreamYard hopper that we can sing along to here.
All right. I think I know the chorus.
Yeah, I think I do too. Let's see here. Apparently, I didn't trim this video when I ripped it off of YouTube. We're loading.
Hey, this is radio station WSKEE. We're taking calls on the wish line, making your wacky wishes come true.
I wish I was a little bit taller.
Wish I was a baller. Wish I had a girl with goods I would call her. Wish I had a rabbit in a hat with a bat and a 6-foot Impala.
I wish I was like 6'9"
so I can get with Yoshi because she don't know me, but she's really fine. You know I see her all the time everywhere I go. And even in my dreams, I can scheme ways to make her mine. I don't know the non-chorus. I just wish I was you know, a little bit taller.
Why do we need all these things? But I just want to be a little bit taller. I've tried not to be greedy. I just want to be taller. I don't want all these things.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, y'all.
Y'all never understood.
I tell him, yeah, Skittles, get a bottle. Got to hit with the bottle and put it in a hospital for talking that mess.
Where's the chorus?
It's Jay.
Get there. Come on, Skilo.
Here we go. Glad I came to my senses, like quick, and stop singing this song before I get canceled. Overcome with my thoughts of me and her together,
You're
right?
good prepared. Look at you.
We need one more
I
chorus.
wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller. I wish I had a girl who was good, I would call her. I wish I had a rabbit in a hat with a bat and a 6-form parlor. Wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller. I wish I had a girl who looked good, I would call her. Wish I had a rabbit in a hat with a bat and a 6-form parlor.
Wish I was a pickleballer. Oh my God. You guys, that's a free idea. You guys need to make that song. I wish I was a pickleballer.
There you go.
Maybe I need to make that song. Thank you.
Yeah, you
Jason,
do, because you do wish.
All right. So you are going to get to pick here. And I think just singing that, I got a cramp. I need to utilize my standing desk here as I get a cramp at my seat. Probably because I'm not out there doing calisthenics on the pickleball court enough. All right. So how do you want to round this team out? For the audio listeners, we're at a 3-5-7-2 build. Prescott, Kyler. I'll read the rest of it because we are on the clock here first. I want to make sure you get who you want.
Okay. I'm going to take 3-5-7. We really need a wide receiver. Oh, give me Tim Patrick.
Tim Patrick, let's go.
Yeah.
Tim Patrick and Marvin Mims. What? Cortland Sutton gets traded and then you're cooking? Is that the thesis?
Well,
here?
I'm just taking their two best wide receivers.
Yeah, I like it. You did it with you got Goddard and AJ Brown. You got Tim Patrick and Marvin Mims. I love the little team.
I just wanted to complete the stacks with other people's quarterbacks, you know?
That's right. All right.
So now I'm looking for a tight end with my last pick.
You're done. They only give you 18 unless they give the footballers more picks on underdog these days.
Oh, I'm done. That was 18.
That's done. You were done.
See, when you get Josh Rosen and you get Larry Fitzgerald and you get some of these guys that, you know, don't play football, really hurts the roster.
It does. You felt
I would
like
have taken Tyler Conklin if I knew. I thought I had two. I thought we were at the turn where I get the back here. But all right, let's hear my final roster.
Yeah, I mean, again, do you have some grenades on this team? Absolutely. Can this team still compete? I think so. Quarterback, Dak Prescott, Kyler Murray, Joshua Rosen, Ballinger, Lippincott. There it is. Running back, Josh Jacobs, Najee Harris, Cam Akers, Deontay Foreman, Zeke, Dallas Cowboy, Elliott, wide receiver, AJ Brown, Tyler Lockett, one of Jason's guys, Treylon Burks, Rondell Moore, Larry Fitzgerald, Marvin Mims, Jason Moore, fitting, Tim Patrick, and then two grown-ass men at tight end, Dallas Goedert and David Njoku. I think you can go to battle with this team.
Yeah. I'm not finishing last. That's not going to happen here.
No, you're not.
Not with Jason Moore on the roster.
Once you have Jason Moore, I mean, it's hard to lose. You crushed it. The randomizer. I know everyone here knows about the fantasy footballers, but you got anything coming down the pipeline that people should keep an eye out for?
No, just listen wherever you listen and watch wherever you watch and look at fantasyfootballers.com for all your fantasy needs.
There you go. And you can always visit the, is it groinreport.com?
Groin Index. If you ever want to know which NFL players have a current groin injury, it is automatically updated and it is incredibly accurate.
And do not get on Jason if Mimstheword does not redirect to the fantasy footballers as well as they're doing. I don't know if they have $1,800 in the budget for a bit these days. I will also say, Jason, I'm laughing because right before we came on the show, or at the start of the show, you mentioned how you were feeling really hot coming in. And I realized you ended the show with 2 additional shirts on after saying you were already hot.
Yeah. 3 shirts, rapping, running upstairs. This is just a pleasure. Thanks for having me, Pete.
Yes. And I do have to put so 2 things came up when Hitman was on a long time ago, and this was in the former intro clip to the show. He called me the worst host he's ever seen, which was fair. Then Andy, last time he was on, called me a good host. And I think it would only be fitting for you to break the tie. And I'm realizing I probably should have agreed to playing pickleball, but am I a good host or am I a bad host, Jason?
You are not a good host. You're a great host, Pete. I've enjoyed being here with you. You make me laugh. You do great work. You're fun, and you know your stuff. So I appreciate you having me on.
I appreciate you, Jason, giving me your time tonight. The audience loved it. You crushed the randomizer. Check out the Fantasy Footballers. Follow both Jason Moores on Twitter. I am here every Thursday night for the randomizer at 8 p.m. Eastern, and I will be here in 10 minutes to chop it up with Adam Levitan. So for Jason, I'm Pete. Appreciate all of you guys. We'll see you next time.